The first time I realized I was becoming invisible in my own family wasn't during a fight. It was over dinner. My mother was talking about the upcoming family trip to Mombasa. She had just come home from work, still in her floral kitenge, her voice bright with excitement. My father sat across from her, nodding along. My little brother Malik was wolfing down ugali and sukuma wiki like he hadn't eaten in days. And then there was my sister, Zara. Zara, the golden child. The one with the perfect grades, perfect smile, and perfect way of making people feel like they'd known her forever. She was just 3 years younger than me, but the way my parents treated her, you'd think she was the crown jewel of the family. Now, we'll be staying at the Coastal Pearl Hotel, my mother said, her voice rich with pride. It's very expensive, but it's worth it for the memories. I had been quiet until then, but I finally smiled. That sounds amazing. I've always wanted to see the ocean. A pause. A strange silence. Then, my father cleared his throat. About that, Amina, we've been meaning to talk to you. The way he said my name, soft but heavy, made my stomach knot. We only booked for 4 people, my mother said, her eyes darting to Zara. We didn't think it would be a big deal for you to sit this one out. You know, with your exams coming up. I froze. Wait, you're saying you're going without me? It's just this one time, my mother insisted, but she didn't meet my eyes. Zara has been under so much stress lately with her university applications, and we thought it would be a nice break for her. It wasn't about exams. It wasn't about space. It was about Zara. That night, I lay in bed staring at the ceiling, my mind replaying every moment of being pushed aside. Birthdays where my cake was smaller, arguments where I was the one told to apologize, achievements brushed over with a half-hearted well done. And now this. A family trip without me. When they left a week later, Zara posted pictures before they'd even reached the hotel. Her caption read, "Family time is the best time, red heart." Family time. Without me. I thought I was ready to let it go until 3 days later, I got a phone call. Amina? This is Joseph from Coastal Pearl Hotel. You're on the reservation, yes? I sat up, confused. No, I'm not. My family went without me. That's strange, he said. Your sister Zara, she checked in with your parents, but she paid for all the rooms herself. She specifically mentioned you were supposed to join them. We thought maybe you were arriving later. I blinked, the words swirling in my mind like a storm. She paid for everything? Yes. In cash. A large amount. She seemed upset. Are you sure you're not coming? Something about his tone unsettled me. After we hung up, my mind wouldn't stop racing. Zara never had that kind of money. She worked part-time at a small cafe, and most of her income went toward her university savings. So how did she suddenly pay for an expensive hotel? And why would she even mention me if she knew I wasn't coming? 2 days later, they came back. My parents were glowing, Malik was sunburned, and Zara looked different. She was quieter. Her eyes didn't meet mine as she dragged her suitcase into her room. I expected gloating. Instead, she shut herself in her room without a word. That night, I found her sitting on the edge of her bed, staring at her phone. She didn't notice me until I spoke. Zara, the hotel manager called me. Her head snapped up. What? He said you paid for everything. That you told him I was supposed to be there. Why would you do that? She swallowed hard. I can't talk about it. Zara. Amina, please. Her voice cracked. If I tell you, you'll wish you never knew. From that moment, I couldn't think about anything else. What could have happened at that hotel? Why was my name even mentioned? I started noticing little things. Zara's phone had multiple missed calls from an unknown number. She kept locking her door at night. And once, when I passed by her room, I heard her crying softly. The breakthrough came accidentally. I was doing laundry when a folded piece of paper fell from Zara's jeans pocket. It was a receipt, stamped with the Coastal Pearl Hotel logo. But on the back, scrawled in hurried handwriting, was a name I didn't recognize, Mr. Omondi, room 407, and beneath it, a time, midnight. My skin prickled. I went online and searched the hotel's name alongside room 407 and Mombasa. One news article popped up, dated just 2 weeks ago. It was brief. A well-known businessman named Mr. Omondi had been arrested for inappropriate conduct involving young women at a hotel along the coast. No further details. My stomach dropped. When I confronted Zara, she refused to talk at first. But then she broke down. I didn't even want to go on that trip, she whispered. But Mama said I should because it would mean a lot to the family. The first night, this man, Omondi, kept trying to talk to me in the hotel lobby. He knew my name. He said he had spoken to Mama before. I thought maybe he was just a family friend. But that night, she trailed off, trembling. I gripped her hand. What happened? He told me he was expecting you, she said, tears spilling down her cheeks. He said Mama promised him a private dinner with her eldest daughter. But when I told him I was your sister, he just smiled. And said maybe I would do instead. I froze. Mama promised you to him? She promised you, Zara corrected. I paid for the hotel myself after that night so we could check out early. I didn't want you anywhere near him. My chest tightened, a sick mix of anger and disbelief swirling inside me. My own mother, willing to hand me over to some man for what? Money? Favors? It made sense now, why they didn't want me there. Why Zara was so shaken. Why the hotel manager thought I was coming. The worst part? My parents had no idea I knew. Over the next few days, I watched them more closely. My mother laughed easily, cooked my favorite dishes, and acted like nothing had happened. My father was his usual self, oblivious or pretending to be. Malik was just a kid, caught in the middle. But I couldn't unhear Zara's words. Every time my mother smiled at me, I felt a chill. One evening, while my parents were out, Zara came to me with her phone. He's been calling again, she said, showing me the unknown number. I think he's trying to find you. I stared at the number. We can't just ignore this. Her eyes widened. What are you going to do? I didn't have an answer yet. But I knew one thing, my family wasn't as safe or as loving as I thought. And now, I had to decide whether to protect the image of a happy family or burn it all down. I didn't sleep that night. The phone number burned in my mind. The thought of what could have happened if I had gone made my skin crawl. And somewhere deep inside me, a resolve began to form. If my own parents could betray me like that, then they needed to know I wasn't going to stay silent. The next morning, I woke up to the sound of my parents arguing in the kitchen. Their voices were low, but the tension was sharp enough to slice through the walls. You said it was handled, my father whispered harshly. It was, my mother replied, her tone defensive. He's just being impatient. That's not my problem. My stomach twisted. I didn't need to hear more to know who he was. When I walked in, they stopped mid-sentence. My mother forced a smile. Amina, you're up early. Tea? I stared at her for a long moment before shaking my head and walking away. My silence seemed to make her nervous. Zara avoided the kitchen entirely. She had barely been sleeping, her phone constantly buzzing with calls she refused to answer. I could see the weight of what she'd experienced pressing down on her, and part of me hated myself for not knowing sooner. That evening, I sat her down. We can't keep living like this. He's not going to stop calling. And if Mama's involved? Her eyes darted toward our parents' bedroom. If we tell Baba, it could destroy everything. You know how he is, he'll say we're lying, or worse, he'll blame us. I took a deep breath. Then maybe it's time the truth destroys something. The plan formed quickly. I called Joseph, the hotel manager, pretending to be following up on a lost item from the trip. While talking, I slipped in a question about Omondi. Joseph didn't hesitate. That man? He's trouble. You're lucky your sister paid early and left when she did. He asked for you by name, you know. Said you were coming to meet him privately. It was all the confirmation I needed. That night, while my parents slept, I called the police hotline anonymously. I gave them Omondi's number and told them everything Zara had told me. I didn't mention my parents, not yet. By the next day, the unknown number stopped calling. But my relief didn't last long. 2 days later, my mother burst into my room, her face pale and trembling. What did you do? I kept my voice even. What are you talking about? Omondi has been arrested. The police came asking questions about me, about the hotel. Do you have any idea what kind of man he is? Yes, I said coldly. That's why I made sure he couldn't get to me, or Zara. Her lips tightened. You don't understand. He was going to help us. Help us? I snapped, my voice shaking. You offered me to him. You sold your daughter's safety for what? Money? Favors? Her eyes glistened, but she didn't deny it. You think life is easy, Amina? You think I wanted to do this? Sometimes, you do what you have to do for the family. I took a step closer, my voice low. Family doesn't trade their children to predators. That's not survival. That's betrayal. For a moment, she looked small, almost fragile. But then her jaw hardened. You've ruined everything. No, I said, my voice steady. I've saved what's left. That night, Zara slipped into my room and hugged me tightly. I don't know how you found the courage, she whispered. But thank you. I held her close, my mind heavy with what was coming next. Because I knew this wasn't over. Omondi might be gone for now, but my parents? They were still here. And trust, once broken like this, doesn't grow back. The air in our house turned cold after that night. Mama barely spoke to me unless it was necessary. Baba seemed suspicious, his eyes narrowing whenever I entered the room. But Zara and I had stopped caring about their approval, we were too busy trying to protect each other. Still, secrets have a way of slipping out. It happened one Sunday afternoon. Baba's cousin dropped by unexpectedly. He worked in law enforcement and had apparently been part of Omondi's arrest. Over tea, he said casually, "It's a shame about your friend, Rose. The man was dangerous. We're lucky the girl, your younger one, left when she did." Baba frowned. Friend? What are you talking about? Silence. Zara's cup froze halfway to her lips. I stared at Mama, waiting for her to spin her usual story. But Baba's cousin kept talking, oblivious to the tension building in the room. Apparently, the man requested your eldest daughter by name. It's in the case notes. The younger one told the hotel manager she was her sister just to get away. Baba's eyes turned to Mama slowly. Requested her, by name? Mama's hands trembled. It's not what it sounds like. It sounds, Baba cut in, his voice sharp, like you tried to sell our daughter. Zara's voice cracked. She did, Baba. That's why I paid for the hotel myself. That's why I came back early. She promised him Amina. The silence that followed was suffocating. Baba's face changed, first disbelief, then fury. Rose, is this true? Mama didn't answer. She didn't have to. He slammed his hand on the table, making the cups rattle. Do you know what could have happened to her? To them? Her voice was small. I was trying to save us. The bills, the debts, he said he could help if. No amount of debt justifies that. Baba roared. I'd never seen him that angry. Zara flinched. Malik, who had been sitting quietly in the corner, looked from face to face, his young mind struggling to understand. That night, Baba told Mama to leave. She refused at first, crying, begging him to understand, but there was no coming back from this. She packed a small bag and walked out into the night without looking at us. I thought I'd feel relief, but instead, I felt hollow. She was still my mother. The woman who had raised me, fed me, clothed me, but also the woman who had almost destroyed me. In the weeks that followed, Baba tried to repair what was left of our family. But things were different. Zara still woke up from nightmares. Malik asked questions we couldn't answer. And me? I walked around with a quiet, gnawing ache. One evening, Zara and I sat outside, watching the sun set over the dusty road. She broke the silence. You know, if I hadn't gone instead of you, I might not be here today. I keep thinking about that. I looked at her, my throat tight. And I keep thinking. Mama might have been willing to lose either of us. We sat there in silence, the air heavy with truths too big for our young hearts. People like to say blood is thicker than water, that family will always protect you. But I've learned that family can also be the first to betray you, and that love without safety isn't love at all. Sometimes, survival means walking away from the people who gave you life. And sometimes, the real family you have is the one that chooses to protect you when it matters most. Trust should be earned, not assumed, especially within families. Protecting each other is a choice, not an obligation, and no title, mother, father, sibling, should excuse betrayal.